And welcome back from that break, Peeps. We are here in the JJ Zone, Join the Journey Radio. Today, talking about parting your life. I mean, how do we construct our life so that we have a sense of enjoyment? The same sort of enjoyment we'd have at a party. How do we get that same sense of enjoyment with our life on a day-to-day basis? So, I want to talk today about that. And, before the break, I asked the question about how do we get this sense of balance? Because that's really where that sense of enjoyment comes from. It's from being in a place where everything is balanced, right? We're at a point of equilibrium where we're not too much one or too much the other. We feel like we have a handle on things. We feel like we have things more in control. And this is the place where we really, really want to be, because this is the place where we have the highest quality of life. So the question is, how do we get there? Well, when it comes to balance, there's really two aspects to balance. The first is what we have in our life, and the second is how we approach what we have in our life. So let's talk about each of these. And I want to fit the discussion today for Latter-day Saint singles, because that's why the program's here. So let's talk about that. So what is it that Latter-day Saint singles have in their lives? Well, ideally, if you're active in the faith, you're going to have several things in your life. You're going to be a busy person. You're going to have, of course, you're going to have your work. There's what you do every day. And of course, all of us should have a calling, some sort of responsibility. But beyond that, for those of us, excuse me, for those of us who are, longtime audience members of the program, you'll know that I've often counseled singles to have a personal ministry, some sort of contribution effort that you regularly embrace, where you give something to the world, where you give some sort of goodness to others, and you dedicate yourself to that cause, that effort. That can be different for different people, but I think that's something that can bring a lot of joy into the lives of Latter-day Saint singles. Yeah, embracing a personal ministry is something that I highly recommend for all Latter-day Saint singles. Now, when it comes to finding balance, you've got the different elements of your life. If you feel like you're being tugged in too many directions, like you don't really have time to do everything you need to do, that's usually a sign that you've got too much going on and you need to drop something. And I know it can be hard. We have different chapters of our life, and I think this is a key thing to recognize as you look at your life and you're thinking about, like, okay, I feel like I need to drop something. What do I need to drop? Recognize that you have chapters in your life. So this applies in two ways. First, there may be something that you really want to do. You have your heart set on it, but it's taking up time that, right now for this chapter in your life could be better spent doing something else. So, recognizing that we have chapters in life can help us to table stuff and say, okay, I'm not completely letting go of it. I'm just not going to focus on this right now because I have other things that need to happen. I have other priorities that need to take place right now. And so recognizing you have a chapter of your life helps you to let go of something just momentarily, set it aside, so that you can focus on what you need to focus on in the current chapter of your life. The other way to focus on being, life has chapters can help you is by looking at this and saying, okay, you know what? I may have something here that, I have to do A, B, and C. I can't drop any of it, and it's keeping me super busy. Understand that it won't be forever. We have chapters of life. So somewhere along the way, things are going to get better. You're probably going to need to take some action before things can get truly, truly better, but it is what it is. So, recognize that we have chapters in life. That could help you with some of the angst you feel about, okay, what do I drop? Sometimes you may find you can't drop anything. I mean, if you're in financial straits, and I've heard stories from people who, they get bad breaks. They end up, losing their job, losing their home, losing their credit, and so they end up having to do a bunch of, odd jobs that they cobble together, and they're doing that every day. And because they don't have a house, they're basically living in like a motel where you have to pay day by day to have a place to stay. And it's not an easy life. It's hard, but eventually, they pull themselves out of it. They find a way to pull themselves out of it. And so if that's your situation, understand you may not be able to drop anything right now, and everything might be just so busy, but yeah, I mean, you can find a way to get out of it. We really have more time than we think we do. I mean, there's a whole lot of time we waste every day. There really is. And, if you really take a hard look at how you're spending every minute of every day, you'll find that there's quite a bit of time that you could find for tackling little things here and there. And, as we've talked about previously on the program, little things build up. So you don't have to do everything overnight. A little bit here, a little bit there, everything aggregates, and eventually, you end up building something great. So understand some things take time, but you can get out of a bad situation. You can improve yourself. You can put yourself in a different place. And that's part of the journey that we're here to experience immortality. So if you feel like you have too much to do, usually it means there's something that you need to drop. So do your best to drop what you can. Now, that's in what you have in your life. The other aspect that I mentioned previously is how you approach what you have in your life. This is the part that trips up so many singles, because here's the deal. So many Latter-day Saint singles don't have as much joy in their life as they could have because they're so focused on that lack of companion. They're focused on their single status. They're focused on the fact they don't have a special someone in their life. And look, I mean, we all have legitimate reasons for wanting that. Our situations aren't all the same, but at least not exactly. But there's some general trends. We weren't made to go through life alone. Like the Lord said in Genesis, it's not good for man to be alone. That's the truth I live with every day. But at the same time, the focus determines your reality. Like we said so often here on the program, your focus determines your reality. So, you need to focus. If you focus too much on one thing, it says you need a balanced focus. Because if you focus too much on one thing, what's your reality going to be? It's going to be filled with that one thing. So if you focus so much of your life, so much of your waking hours, and approach everything you do with the thinking of, I don't have the companion, I'm lacking something. I'm lacking the companion that I want in my life, the companion I need in my life. And you focus everything with that mentality, what do you think is going to result? What reality is going to come out on the other side? Well, I mean, when you focus on lack, what you get is a reality of emptiness. You get a reality of lack. And so you feel empty. You feel alone. You feel void. Not good. Not good at all. A way to change that is change your focus. And so it's not so much about focusing on one thing as it is having a balanced focus. Being able to put some things out of your mind. This is where faith comes in. Because we need to have the faith. When you have that faith, the Lord will provide. You can set the concern aside and say, I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know how this is going to be solved. I know it's not going to be solved today. So I'm just going to set it aside. Trust that the Lord will take care of it somehow. And I'm going to focus on what I need to do right in front of me right now. It's a much more productive way to find balance in your life. Now, again, you're going to need, just like you need occasional moments of recreation, of recreating yourself, You need occasional moments to build your faith so that you can continue to table it aside and not have it be like the prime focus of everything that you do and are. We've all met people who are like that, who have that lack of companionship as like the prime focus of their life. They're not pleasant to be around. In fact, they suck emotional energy out of everybody around them. They're like emotional black holes. We all know people like that. So, yeah, you want to steer clear of that. Don't be that person, because nobody wants to be around that person. Because, I mean, and nobody wants to be around that person. I mean, how do you think their search for a companion is going to go? Not well. So they're just self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's like they're their own worst enemy. And you just need to change your focus and turn things around. That's how you turn things around, is by changing your focus. So we need to look at what we have in our lives, and we need to look at how we're approaching what we have in our lives. There needs to be balance in both of those aspects. And, we can have that. As I already say, singles, we can have that state that puts us in that place, that sweet spot in the middle, where we're at that equilibrium point, where we can feel the celebration that life really is and has to offer every single day. But it comes by getting at that balance point. We're overdue for a break. Let me go ahead and take that break now. When we come back from the break, I want to finish up the program with some special thoughts about how to find and maintain balance in our lives. See you there on the other side.